happy that we were able to get that one behind us, and we want to move forward with you so everybody's comfortable that waste isn't on the table. And then with that issue gone, if you look at the direction we're trying to go in, which is to bring in good job-producing companies, to bring in ratables, to take trucks off the road, and make this corridor an active corridor, that's our common ground. That's the direction that I think everybody, most people want to go. And if we succeed at that, we're not going to have 30 trains running up and down. We're going to be a little short line. We're going to have service daily. If that would be great. If we brought a 10-car tray down every day, we would be at the level where that railroad was 25 years ago, where it brought feed in, brought fertilizer in, did all the different things like that. And really along that stretch, from Slate Hill up to Middletown, that was it. So my message is that we're not here to do any waste. We don't have any connection with Masada. For those of you who don't have a copy of this, we've explained that the people who had the waste by rail plan are gone. They've been gone for a year and a half. We have no contact with them, don't want to have any contact with them, don't believe that Masada is really a viable entity which is going to come to fruition. And again, in this, there's an article back from 2004, and Harold Rasmussen here has been with the railroad for 30 years. His father used to own it, and that's who Chartwell bought it from. But Harold is quoted in this article, March 29, 2004, and he talks about Masada. This was a project that's been on the books here for 10 years, and the railroad had talked to him, and they asked the railroad if they could give him service, and that's as far as it went. The railroad was hoping that it may be a customer one day, but in reality, we can see where it went in 10 years, and I don't think in the next year it's going to materialize all of a sudden. So anyway, I just wanted to explain that part, and then another part is that when we put our game plan together on what we thought the railroad could be, we knew that there were obstacles. We knew that the community had heard waste by rail, and that was really, they found it offensive, and I don't blame you. I apologize for the company and the manner in which it was handled. It was handled poorly. There wasn't any communication, there was no understanding, and there was no dialogue. It was handled very poorly. But that aside, we realized that, all right, we made a mistake, let's try and move forward from this. So I put out, the New York State DOT has a grant program where they'll give shoreline railroads and the Class 1 railroads some money for infrastructure improvements. And it's an investment. They look at it like, any rail infrastructure that we improve could be there. Our rail's been there 140 years. Some of it's original. And this rail, if we get some new rail, is going to be here for another 100 years. We're going to pull up some rails dated 1906, Lackawanna rail. So it's been there quite a long time. It's been serving the community when they brought in coal and when they brought milk to New York City and did all those things. So in any event, we put together a grant application. It was submitted back in July of last year, and it was actually noted as the best application that they received. And not because it was so beautiful or anything, but the point of it was that we could be an economic engine for a community that is in the throes of development. And if you're smart, and it seems like Wawayanda is trying to do things the best way they can to bring in good ratables, and they're going to control their development to some level, to where they hopefully are proactive and going to have an impact. And it seems like there's a lot of people who want to make that happen. If we're aligned with you guys, we talk about trying to bring in the types of customers like your Genpacks, good ratables, and that type of thing. And this was so well received that we got more grant funds, which are going to be distributed in 2009, than any other short line in the state. So, it was the right message at the right time. They want to see economic development. We're in an area that can certainly reap the rewards of putting in this type of infrastructure because you're in the growth mode. You're right next to New York City. So there's some good things that can happen in this community, and we could be a catalyst for it. But we're certainly not going to get very far if we're still stuck in the mud, being called the trash train and all those other things. So what I want to do is take some questions from anybody who has them, and hopefully at the end of this meeting, you have a better understanding of where we want to go, and we can work as partners. Very good. Thank you.
first thing I'd like to ask is I know from one of our conversations, obviously we spoke at length about many issues here. Transfer, transload. You described and defined the terminology to me in a way that I think it would be something very helpful to everyone here, including board members, to hear your perspective on what that means to use a railroad. Because those words are laden throughout the documents. As you said, just for the folks in the audience, Chartwell did sign an agreement with Middletown stating what they plan on doing, what they don't plan on doing. And that in conjunction with a preliminary draft that we had, that we were kicking around, we've combined some of those issues, and that's what we have in front of us, and we're working on that. And I think we're very close. But that word keeps coming back. So one is that transfer, transload. So I think the board members should hear your definition.
From a waste perspective, a transfer station is a facility where you're going to get smaller service trucks, roll-off trucks, garbage trucks that come in and they dump on the floor, and maybe you'll sort it, or maybe you'll do different things, or bale it, or what have you, and then it'll go out in some other form, in a larger truck, or maybe a container, or what have you. But basically, that's our impression, and what in the context of that agreement, that's what a transfer station is.